Hi, I'm Karin Reed from Speaker Dynamics.
And I'm Julia Wuench from the Authenticity Guide. So with the growing threat of coronavirus, we're seeing more and more teams move to remote operations. We think this is going to cause disruptions in workflow, and it may make people feel isolated from their teams and their colleagues.
Definitely. And with my on-camera expertise and Julia's expertise in team connections, we thought we would join forces to empower you as you hope to be able to work effectively in what may very well be a new virtual remote reality.
That's right. And our hope is that by the end of this video, you'll learn how to collaborate more effectively. We want you to feel more connected to your colleagues, and most critically, really keep that momentum going in your business when working remotely. And we're modeling good behavior because we're conducting this webinar remotely. We're both in our separate offices, so we're really practicing what we preach here.
Absolutely. So we're going to give you some tips, 6 tips in particular that you can immediately apply as you try to figure out how to navigate this new dispersed team dynamic. So without further ado, Julia, why don't you kick things off for us?
Thanks, Karin. So tip number 1, separate internal communication from external team interaction. The goal here is we really want a substitute for those organic interactions where you have a question or you want to have a conversation and you walk into that person's office or you approach their cubicle and you just get that quick answer and have that quick social interaction. You need to create a digital office space. So we need that replacement for those quick hit interactions. I highly recommend using platforms like Slack, which is basically an instant messaging platform for internal communication. You can also use project management software like Monday.com or Trello. Those will work really effectively. The goal here is that you really don't want to have your inbox bombarded with internal team communication. You don't want your colleagues to have to wait 24 to 48 hours for an email response from you for a quick hit question. Save that for external communication. Have a portal that's really sacred for internal team communication so you can have rapid, more personal connections with your team.
Those are all excellent points. And speaking of tools, Julia, I wanted to give my second tip, which is leveraging video collaboration tools. So I'm kind of hopefully preaching to the choir. If you're watching this video, you understand the value of video. But really, when you're working in a team environment that is remote, video is a perfect way to maintain that connection. Because one of the challenges when you're working remotely is that you can feel disconnected as a team. So text and teleconferencing simply cannot compete with video when it comes to creating that team cohesion. There might be some initial reluctance when you turn the webcam on, you go, oh, know that the vast majority of people do not like how they look or sound on video. But the only way to get past that hump is to rip off the Band-Aid, rip off the duct tape that you may have over your webcam, and just start getting more comfortable with seeing yourself in this environment. And know that we are hypercritical of ourselves. We see things that no one else sees. The value of it is so great, though, that it really makes a business case pretty easy. Whenever you have video enabled, your meetings are likely going to be much more productive and often faster and more efficient, and everybody wants that.
Yep, couldn't agree more. And that brings us to tip number 3, which is be inclusive. So keep in mind that people who are on the periphery of teams, which includes people who might have joined the team recently, newer team members, or more junior team members, are likely to not have as much access to information and resources as people who are maybe more senior on a team and have more resources. So what I want you to do is combat this tendency. So make a list of all of your current core and extended team members and write their names and have their picture next to it and have that right on your desk so that you're keeping in mind everyone who works on your team. That way you can make much more conscious decisions about how to allocate responsibilities, how to allocate information, and really have a mind towards inclusion, making everyone on the team feel included.
I love that. So tip number 4, normalize your new work environments. And you can do this by giving your colleagues a virtual tour. You know, many people have been forced into a remote working situation when they don't have their home office set up for it. So consequently, there can be some distractions that you simply can't do anything about. Maybe it is your dogs that you have running around. Maybe it's your cats. Maybe it's your roommates who are also now working from home, and they might be trying to navigate the same thing that you are. One way to make it a bit easier is to let your colleagues know what you're dealing with. And that can mean just giving them a tour of your workspace at home. Because whenever you're in a virtual meeting and suddenly, you know, you have a roommate walking behind you, they'll be much more empathetic rather than annoyed if you have told them in advance, hey, there's 4 of us who are sharing an apartment, and no, this is not by design. It's just something that we're all trying to deal with right now. So familiarity breeds empathy, and that will certainly help in terms of your team cohesion.
Such a great idea, and I totally understand that dog interaction. That's a common one of mine. It's a big
Me too.
distraction. So that brings us to tip number 5, which is encourage each person to create a how to work with me remotely manual to share among team members. You can think of this like a how to work your dishwasher manual, but for your team members about how to work with them remotely. And so the questions that this manual should include look like preferred communication styles, ideal working hours, boundaries, and personal time to be respected. Questions like that, so that each person is creating their own manual, and then you can share these out with the team. And I think you'll be really surprised at what some people come up with, and it will help you really respect each other and listen to what each other wants moving to that remote environment. And as a freebie for people who are watching this webinar, I'm going to put a link in the comment section of this video. When you sign up for my newsletter from watching this video, I'm going to send you a free copy of my How to Work with Me Remotely manual, and it's a template that I hope you will use with your teams going forward. So look out for that.
Yeah, I think I'm actually to get that myself, Julia. That is a great idea, seriously. So let's go to our last tip, tip number 6, which is rethink your timing for meetings. When you're in a virtual setting and you're using video, it's great because you're super focused, because the lens holds you accountable. There's no multitasking. People will know if you're doing something other than paying attention in the meeting. That's a good thing, but it can also be exhausting. There's no back of the room. There's no hiding. So you have to really think about what is going to be the limit of everyone's attention span, and even just their endurance. So if you can keep it to under an hour, then that is really your best bet. If you have to go beyond that, you've got to build in breaks, just as you would if you were in person. So that means a true break where you turn off your audio and you turn off your video, and you're allowed to go do a bio break, go get a snack, do something just to kind of disconnect just for a couple of minutes. If you can't do that, you can also do some pre-work to be able to cut down on the in-person, face-to-face part of the meeting. That means sending out pre-reads so that the time spent in the virtual video setting is one for discussion as opposed to simple delivery of information. So there are ways to get around it, because when you're on camera, you are on camera. Everybody is going to see everything you're doing, which brings me to my final point. Never eat on camera. That's never a good look, and you can't pull that off in a professional setting.
Yep, noted. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was a really critical last tip. So that summarizes our 6 tips for you. Thank you so much for watching. We're here to help you and your teams navigate what might feel like new territory. It's hard to feel connected in a virtual setting, but we feel pretty confident that these tips and tricks are going to help you get started. And
Absolutely.
if you're interested in learning more about the Authenticity Guide and my work, we serve companies through connection, communication, and collaboration. I would love to help you implement some of these strategies on your teams. I offer free 30-minute consultations, so please don't hesitate to reach out.
And if you would like to learn how to leverage virtual video communication, that really is my core competency. So feel free to reach out to me. You can check out my website, which is speakerdynamics.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Twitter, or just reach out to me via email at Karin at speakerdynamics.com.
Thanks for watching.